Okay, I'm a sucker for a good cry. I think we all are. And Naruto has moments in runtime episodes and manga chapters that definitely tugged on the heartstrings. Today, I'm going to put my own list out there and say which moments in Naruto that made me either actually cry or maybe wanna cry. Before I start, don't lie to me and say that there were no moments that didn't at least make you possibly even consider maybe wanting to cry, because if you do, you're lying. Anyway, there's no real criteria for this list. It's just moments I feel that made me feel some type of way during the Naruto series. And quote, crying doesn't necessarily mean it has to be sad crying. It could range from anything from sad crying to happy crying, or even, of course, rage crying. With that all out of the way, I will list the top 7 moments in Naruto that real men cried, or at least thought about wanting to cry. Also, why 7? Because there's 7 Hokage in the Elite Village, and that's why, okay? Anyway, number 7, Hiruzen's funeral. Okay, so I might actually get some question marks and maybe even some hate with this one, but just hear me out. So it's not so much Hiruzen's death that got me tugged on the heartstrings, but more so his whole funeral episode and what all that entailed. Full disclosure, this episode or moment didn't actually make me cry, but it did tug on the heartstrings a little bit for me, and for a few different reasons. If you're like me and you watched part 1 as it was airing on Tobirama, meaning you had to wait week by week for a new episode, then you know how it felt just getting through the Chunin exams arc. It took years. So finally to be done with the arc and have the next episode open to pretty much silence for the first 5 minutes or so, it sets the tone for the rest of the episode. Right as the funeral starts, the track Sadness and Sorrow starts playing, and by the way, most if not all the entries on this list are going to be largely affected due to the music behind them, because my lord is the soundtrack in Naruto and Naruto Shippuden amazing. Anyway, to see everyone mourning and weeping for Hiruzen, and yeah, I mean, Hiruzen, sure, divisive character, a lot of people hate him, but for me, for the first time watching Naruto, I spent so much time with Hiruzen being this loving grandpa character for most, if not all, of the cast, and by extension, the Elite Village. So, to me, he was the glue that held everything together. So to know that he wasn't going to be there to lead the village and protect it really added some tension and even some worry as to how the village was going to survive moving forward. Then we get Iruka's flashback about his conversation with Hiruzen, and again, being that comforting grandpa-like figure, just being there for Iruka and encouraging him to have the will of fire, it's very heartwarming. Then we cut to Kakashi at the Memorial Stone and hearing his reasons for why he's always late, being there till from dawn, and it is amazing character development and just great storytelling. Then we get Jiraiya remembering his younger days as Hiruzen's student. There's just so many good character moments in this one episode, and again, it just left me with more worry than anything and wondering how the village and our characters were going to be without their Hokage. So yeah, I mean, Hiruzen may not be too liked amongst the fandom, but for me at least, this moment really made me feel like things weren't going to be the same. Alright, Obito's death. Again, like with Hiruzen, this one might get me in some trouble because I know Obito is pretty much a divisive character amongst the fandom, but to be honest, that seems to be the case when power scaling Obito. I feel like most people, especially now in 2024, have at least warmed up to Obito as a character, but speaking frankly, Obito is one of my favorite characters specifically because of his tragic story. Now, I'm not here to talk about, his story overall, but Obito's death hit me a bit. Like with Hiruzen, it didn't necessarily make me cry, but it did tug on the heartstrings a bit, for sure. Like Obito's tale starting out as this nice little boy who was just naturally prone to helping people, and then to have his world shattered and become a psychopath who pretty much just want to watch the world burn, to a reformed man who sacrifices his life to save the world out of obligation for all the horrible things he's done. It really cements a character arc that is really well told. It makes it even more tragic for me that even after learning he was manipulated this whole time by Madara, Obito still knows that most, if not all, the Shinobi world's problems are completely his fault. And after he accepts all the doubts in his mind that Naruto has been presenting to Obito, he immediately attempts to do what he can to save the world. Again, out of obligation because he feels he owes it to the world to do so. Heck, the first thing he does after Naruto and Sasuke shatter his will is attempt to sacrifice his own life in order to bring back everybody they had killed. And even when that doesn't work, he consistently assists the main cast in trying to stop both Madara and later on Kaguya. And as a matter of fact, without Obito's help, Naruto, Sasuke, and Kakashi would likely be dead. And the catch of it all is Obito doesn't do this because he feels like it'll redeem him somehow, but that it's what he's supposed to do as an obligation for all the horrible things that he's done. Obito knew he was beyond redemption, and he still found it in his heart to do what was right. I will say that Obito's death scene was part of what got it on this list, mainly because the track again is playing. It's Sadness and Sorrow from the first, from part 1, and when seeing Kakashi hit the ground while he was talking to Naruto, explained to him, all the doubts that had been stirring his mind, and that it somehow filled him with, excitement, and it brought back those feelings of him wanting to be Hokage. It's so powerful, honestly. And his line in turning to Naruto and saying, "Become Hokage at all costs." To me, when I heard that, it was like Obito was saying, "I do not want you to become me. Become Hokage so you do not become me." Obito is a tragic hero, and yes, he's not, quote, a hero, but I mean, he did what he could despite the fact that he was the main villain, essentially, of the series. And so for that, I feel like his death really hit me, well, all things considered, especially when you're watching it for the first time. Yeah, it's a tough one to watch sometimes. Up at number 5, I have Jiraiya's death, and I think I actually might get some hate on having his death a little bit too low, I feel like, but it's not, okay, it's one of those things, like, I knew it was coming, not in the sense of it got spoiled for me, but in my heart, I knew that Jiraiya was going to die at some point, because it was kind of like, in spoilers for any One Piece watchers out there, but it was kind of like how Ace was to Luffy, and we all know how that went. So I felt like at some point Jiraiya was going to die, if only because it had to be like a really powerful moment for Naruto specifically. But no, like Jiraiya's death, I mean, that whole fight was chaotic. So like, I mean, when you spend so much of that episode on pins and needles trying to figure out if Jiraiya can beat Pain, and even when you know that he can't beat Pain, now you're just wanting him to escape so he can still live, and still on pins and needles on how he's going to escape. Your mind's already like going all over the place. And then when you finally see it happen, you're in a state of disbelief. This one actually might count as like a sad cry and also rage cry. But like, it's obviously, it's more sad because again, I saw it coming. I knew it was going to happen. And then like his flashback with Minato and Kushina and the revelation that he's actually Naruto's godfather. It's even more crazy, and it makes you like even all the more mad that he had to die. Him fighting his way back through sheer will alone just to relay the dying message. But what really got me was the monologue, like his inner monologue. That was when I knew it was definitely happening. Like, yeah, like I guess at any moment you could say that maybe he'd be able to come back and still live. But once he did that my inner monologue, I felt like, yeah, this is when it's gonna actually happen. So, but no, him feeling that he finally did something right, even though we feel like Jiraiya's, done more than that, right? But to him, his greatest success is Naruto, leading the revolutionary that was going to change the world, and him finally submitting in his own mind that, yes, it is in fact Naruto. Naruto, you are the hero that will say, it's just so great. And the track, again, like phenomenal music behind the scene, and him sinking down to the bottom of the well, talking about his sequel, The Tale of Naruto Uzumaki. Man, like I don't think you could really get any like stronger than that when it comes to Jiraiya. So yeah, like again, this was like half rage, half sad. But yeah, Jiraiya will always, Jiraiya's destiny will always kind of and again, like when I first watched it, yeah, I shed some tears, like I ain't gonna lie to you. But again, I was more like pissed and sad, so like I couldn't like, it wasn't all just tears. So if I had to remember correctly, I'm pretty sure I put my manga book down for a minute. Number 4, I have Minato's goodbye to Naruto during the Fourth War. Not too many Fourth War moments, I gotta be honest with you. And so I feel like if I had to put one on this list, it would definitely be here. This one was one that like I knew it was coming. Like especially when you're watching and reading them, when you're watching the anime and you're reading the manga, like you spend so much time by this point with Minato and Naruto together, working together, fighting together. Like, just having that bonding time that they didn't get to have, it was so heartwarming and so amazing. And you just weren't ready for it to end. So when, like, Hagoromo says that he's taking back all the reanimated Hokage, your immediate thought was Minato leaving Naruto. And, bro, oh my god. Dude, even if you're reading it or watching it, especially for the first time, if you don't, I don't know, I feel like if you do not at least shed one tear or even think about shedding a tear in that moment, you don't have a heart, bro. That was tough for me to get through. Especially when, like, Naruto is legit reenacting every word from Kushina when she told him, like, all that she wanted out of life for Naruto. Yeah, it's definitely a heart-tugging moment, I ain't gonna lie to you. And then, like, to see the final tear coming down from Minato's eyes as he's floating up to ninja heaven, I guess. Yeah, definitely one of, like, the most, oh man, I don't think I could have gotten through it, like, without shedding a tear. I definitely cried my very first time. I won't even, like, man to man or whoever's out there. Yeah, I definitely cried. There ain't no way I can get through that whole, like, Naruto monologue speech or whatever without crying. It's like, you knew it was coming, you knew it had to happen. And I'm pretty sure even the manga chapter, like, there was a little tagline at the beginning or at the end of the chapter. It says, like, Naruto knew it had to happen, Toughness goodbye or something like that. And I remember, like, after reading the manga chapter of it, I had to put it down for a minute and just, like, think, like, bro, Minato's really gone now. Yeah, so, yeah, that was really tough. I won't lie to you. So, Minato's goodbye and farewell to Naruto is number 3. Okay, so I took a long time to think about the top 3, in my opinion. And honestly, even after I went back and watched some of the series highlights as far as, like, emotional moments and whatnot, I stuck with these 3. I'm not changing I'm taking these to the grave, right? Funny, though, because all 3 of these moments incorporate a different type of cry, at least for me. So, number 3, I think this one will probably be the most surprising of all, though, and it is the conversation between Guy and Lee in part 1. I can't remember what manga chapter it was, but I know it was like episode 100 or 101 or something like that. When Tsunade is already back to the village and she has already taken a look at Lee and says that, like, he needs to give up on being a shinobi, and if he does pursue the surgery, that's a 50-50 chance, and, if it fails, he's gonna die. Like, first of all, I'm gonna talk about that real quick, because honestly, man, this is so real. This is something that could happen totally, like, within the real world. It's like something that people can totally relate to, Again, like I said earlier, if you're watching this on Toonami, you're watching this week by week. Every Saturday, you get new episodes, so you have to wait week by week for new episodes. So after the fight between Lee and Gaara happens, and Lee's arm and leg have been crushed beyond all reason, and after that fight cements, you are told that Lee can never be a shinobi again. Like, he's physically unable of carrying out the duties of a shinobi. Like, he'll never fight again. His days as a ninja are over. Like, it hits you with such a freaking massive, like, state of disbelief, because you love this character. Like, Lee is one of the most meaningful souls in the series, and to hear him get the short end of the stick and his dream ripped right from under him, it's crazy. So, like, you spend all this time from the Gaara fight to when Tsunade gets back in the Leaf Village, you're hoping and praying that Tsunade will be able to actually fix something. You're almost betting on it, And then to hear her say that she has no confidence that it will work, that it's a 50-50 chance, and if it fails, he'll die. Bro, you're almost in the state that Lee's in whenever he hears it, because, you look at the anime, he's almost having a full-blown panic attack. He's sweating, he's, like, huffing and puffing, and then, you have the following episode, again, that's why I was talking, like, either 100 or 101, you gotta look back at it, but you have Lee just kind of sitting there by himself and thinking about how Guy and Kakashi were doing rock, paper, scissors, and Kakashi was saying that it's not all about skills, sometimes you need luck. And Lee kind of applies it to his situation, that it's not just luck this time. It's serious. This isn't just a kid's game. But Guy is, reminding Lee of their, self-imposed rules. Like, you do this to do this. If I can't do this, I'll do this. As a way of bettering one's, perseverance and determination. I won't lie to you. Half of this scene makes it on this list because of the music. Like, I'm not even going to front you about it. The music, I don't remember the name of it. I had to look it up. But man, that guitar, bro, that guitar in there, the melody, it's so powerful. And in that moment where Lee is in a fit of denial, he doesn't know what to do. Guy straight up tells him, like, there's no doubt in my mind that the surgery will be a success. And on the 1 in 1,000, no, the 1 in a million chance something happens to go wrong, I will die right along with you. Bro, like, I will not even front you. Like, I did tear. Like, I cried. Like, I'm not even going to lie to you guys. Like, I cried. And the second I heard that, a 13-year-old me was saying, this is meant to be a kid's show? There ain't no way. Like, this seems like too real for it to just be like about a kid's show. Part 1 has some really good moments that I don't think gets recognized enough, and this is one of them. So, honestly, as random as this entry was, I'm not changing it. I think it definitely deserves a spot on here because this cemented my guy being among one of my favorite characters the entire series, specifically due to his relationship with Lee. Honestly, is there anyone out there that actually doesn't even consider my guy Lee's father? Like, I think we all do. So, yeah, number 3 on here for I guess it is a happy cry moment, but it is still like in the sad realm, I suppose. So, yeah, number 3, this one. Okay, number 2 actually might surprise y'all in some way. And I will not lie to you guys, this is all rage. I'll talk about all rage. And yes, there was some tears. There were some rage tears. I will not front. Bro, when I saw Kakashi die in the manga, I threw my manga book. I'm not gonna, like, I think I got in trouble with my dad too, because I'm pretty sure I almost broke like a picture or something like that. Like, I accidentally aimed it to a picture frame or something like that. But no, for real, look, I was mad. Like, I could not believe it. Unlike with Jiraiya's death, like, I could not fathom Kakashi dying. Like, at this point, like, I can't remember if I actually just didn't think of it. Like, I didn't think of the possibility. It was one of those things, like, I could never have seen it coming because I felt like Kakashi was either just too central to the plot or too well liked by the fandom that, like, if Kishimoto did this, he felt like he would probably get riots at his doorstep. So, like, I really did not picture Kakashi dying, like, whatsoever. So when it finally did, and he's having that monologue, like, his inner monologue, and I was like, no, don't do this. Please do not do this to me. Like, I don't know how many times I gotta say this, but, like, if you're a channel veteran, you guys know that, like, the second that Kakashi whipped out that lightning blade on the bridge against Zabuza, he immediately became my favorite character. And ever since then, he's done and said, and, like, just things that just keep him at the number 1 spot. And so a lot of what made Naruto was Kakashi for me. Like, he was like the sole reason I watched the show to begin with. So for me to have him not be in the show anymore, I don't know. I couldn't do it. Like, I again, if you're channel veteran, you'll know that I put down the manga book and did not pick it back up. I told myself I'm not watching this show anymore. I'm done with it. And I had to actually have someone tell me, like, a month or 2 later, because someone was like, one of my friends was like, hey, bro, have you finished watching Naruto? Are you still watching Naruto? I'm like, heck no, they killed my favorite character. Why would I watch it? He's like, who, Kakashi? I was like, yeah. He's like, no, he's alive. I was like, no, you're lying. He's like, read it and find out. I was like, bro, if you're lying to me, the manga book that I have in my hand is getting thrown right in your face. I don't care where you are. I'm driving to your house and throwing it in your face. But no, for real though, like, I was so relieved that he was back, but I could not tell you guys enough that I was mad. I was raging. Yeah. I don't think much more needs to be said, but honestly, I don't think I really could have finished this series. I mean, I think at some point I probably would have picked it back up regardless, but still, like, Kakashi being killed off was, I don't know. Especially after, like, they had just killed Jiraiya. I was like, there's no way they're actually going to kill another one of Naruto's teachers right off the bat. But they did. Especially when, like, and I was in a state of disbelief up until the Katsuyu slug was on Kakashi and relayed the message to Tsunade, pretty much implying that, yeah, he's dead. So, yeah, I was just like Tsunade when she punched the side of the building. I was furious. So, that's number 2, the raging cry. So, number 1 is completely happy, hype cry. Like, I won't lie to you guys. I don't think I've ever watched, so full disclosure, I watch reaction videos as like a slight hobby of mine. I think it's pretty cool. And one of the things I like to see people react to is watching Naruto for the first time. And when people get to the Hero of the Hidden Leaf episode in Shippuden, I think it's like 178 or like 175, something like that. Bro, like, I don't think I've ever seen anybody watch this episode and not tear up. Because, like, again, putting into the perspective of someone who's watched Naruto since it came out. Bro, to grow up with these characters, to see what they go through, all the battles they've gone through, all the hardships they've had to deal with, especially Naruto, right? Naruto has been the underdog this entire story. And now, for him to beat the villain that nobody else in the village could beat, Jiraiya, Kakashi, Tsunade, everybody was down and out fighting this guy. And here comes Naruto. Literally, like, as much hate as Sakura gets for this moment, her screaming to the sky is literally how we all felt. Like, Naruto, please get here. We're counting on you. And to see it happen, bro, to see his entrance, you knew everything was going to be okay. Somehow, even in the fight, bro, you knew, like, he was the best chance that the village had. So when he finally beats Pain and finally taught no jutsu, but let's just go ahead and get that out of the way. First of all, you have the revelation that Nagato is now bringing everybody back that he killed, including Kakashi. So yes, in my shoes, I was jumping up and down. Like, literally, I stayed on that manga panel for at least a little bit until I read on, because I was like, bro, please tell me this is actually happening. And so when he finally does bring Kakashi back, it's awesome, right? And then you get the revelation that Nagato is literally putting his faith into Naruto, which is something that's crazy, At this point, I felt like Pain was someone that really, yes, like, Naruto taught no jutsuing has become a meme, but there was a part of me that felt like Pain was a character that would not be taught no jutsu. Like, he was too far into everything to turn back. So to see it actually happen and to see him put his faith in Naruto and say that, I think I shall believe in you after all, Naruto Uzumaki, literally had me going. I was like, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. To finally, have that all wrapped up nice with a bow, him walking back to the village and almost fainting, and Kakashi catches him. Bro, you had to think, the second Kakashi came back to life, the first thing he did was go to look for Naruto. And like, yeah, that moment really got the heartstrings going. And then Kakashi bringing it back on his piggybacking him and whatnot, and saying he's gotten heavier, really, again, just keeps it going. And then when he finally gets to the village, bro, and everybody's there to greet him. Like, I know that Naruto's dream was to become Hokage, but honestly, one could argue that him being accepted by the villagers was probably what he wanted more than anything, more than becoming Hokage. And so, for him to finally get accepted by everybody in the village, man, and to see them, like, this whole episode really just cements the underdog story finally coming to a head. Like, everybody in the village places their bets on Naruto. And then when you see Ebisu, at least in the episode, in the manga, it kind of did this earlier, but Ebisu is kind of giving that monologue and speech about how far Naruto's come since he was a little boy, and how at first everyone just treated him as if he was a bother, a nuisance, everybody hated him. And as the series progressed, everyone started wondering and talking about him, and even caring for him as the series went on. And now everybody is just, again, placing their bets on Naruto. And then to finally have Iruka having his flashback about his conversation with Hiruzen, about Hiruzen saying that the final wish of the fourth Hokage was for one day Naruto is seen as a hero. And to see Iruka tear up and say that Lord Third, Lord Fourth, there is a hero right before our eyes. And then literally the next scene is everyone hoisting Naruto up and him smiling, bro. Yeah, I don't think, just to see how far Naruto's come, I don't think I can watch the episode and not get teary-eyed. So I really hope there's nobody out there that, judge me for that. And if there is, I don't care. I love that scene, love that episode. I could watch it all day just because I've grown up with Naruto being the underdog and finally seeing him get what he deserves after so long. It's amazing. So yeah, that's my top 7 real men cried moments, whatever you want to call it. The moments that real men cried. But yeah, honestly, I was a little bit hesitant to do this, but honestly, I think it's like a joke-ish kind of video anyway. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please let me know in the comments what moments you guys actually cried, and don't be shy. Just admit it, all right? We're all fans here. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. Let me know what moments really had you, going. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and until the next one, LightningSnow out.